I've been involved with the Consolidated Dispatch Center since the inception. It was actually a dream that we had many years ago. We had breakfast at an IHOP in Mount Pleasant. The chief of Mount Pleasant, Roddy Perry, chief of North Charleston, John Zumwalt. We sat down one morning and talked about the benefits of consolidating a dispatch center and coming up with a better way to make communications occur in Charleston County. And I think that's where we're at today. We actually have a better way, and we actually are at the table with each other discussing issues. And it's a dream that we had, and I'm fortunate to see it come through. I've been the dispatch board chairman for the past 2 years. I've enjoyed my time as the chairman. And as I move forward, it is with a heavy heart, but I will still be involved with the dispatch center. So my particular interest has been in accreditation. I'm heavily involved in accreditation processes, and I'm proud to say that the dispatch center is an accredited center for emergency fire and emergency medical response dispatching. And as of November the 22nd, the Dispatch Center achieved the award from CALEA, the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agency. They are now one of 65 dispatch centers in the nation to be accredited. And they're only one of 39 dispatch centers that are standalone. And I think that's a huge feather in the cap of Charleston County and everybody that's been associated with this dispatch center. And then finally, as I move on, I just want to say that with these accreditations and with the processes in place and with the oversight that we have with not only the board that oversees it, but under the tutelage of the county administrator, I know the best practices are in place, and that we will always achieve those best practices one way or another, and we work hard to get those done. I thank you.
Sheriff Cannon has been a proponent of consolidation for as long as I can remember. Even before he became sheriff, when he was chief of North Charleston, he believed that consolidation was the best approach to most local government issues. And he believes that this is one of the best decisions that Charleston County has ever made, and the proof of it is just this building right here. If you've ever been, excuse me, in most police dispatch offices are like closets, things are stuffed into every nook and cranny. Technology has to be pointed out because it's usually covered up with something else. This is a state-of-the-art facility, and it's something that everybody in Charleston County can be proud of. And again, the Charleston County Council and the other governments that work to make this happen all should be very, very pleased with themselves. Like Chairman Pryor said, we've got 1 year of full consolidation with City Police Department and Charleston City Police Department coming in November 2013. We got here, and what have we accomplished? Well, we've taken some grants and standardized some technology in our mobile data usage so that first responders have standardized equipment, standardized software, so it improves efficiency all the way around. We've also been working with Seahawk, and you're going to hear from them. We've got greater port security, and one of the things that we tend to forget was on 9/11, the armed forces were no longer the only first line of defense in this country. Public safety is now, because we're the ones that are probably going to be dealing with any homegrown or foreign terrorist acts that come to Charleston. Excuse me. The other thing and this is probably the most important, well, response times have improved across the board, I believe. There were plenty of little obstacles to get over when you take this many different agencies and bring them into one, but we've worked those out, and we have great response times. And the other thing, and we know this, and everybody knows this when you sit down and talk about it, we brought public safety agencies together and started communicating and started understanding each one of us' jobs and what our priorities were and how our priorities meshed. and how we can all work together to improve all public safety, not to improve the sheriff's office, or North Charleston Police Department, or the fire department, or EMS, but how to improve public safety as a whole. And I've got to say, and I know the sheriff would say this if he were here, public safety has improved in Charleston County because of this effort right here. Thank you.
My name is Dennis Bradford, and as the director of the Seahawk Interagency Operations Center and the federal representative on the Consolidated Dispatch Board, it's truly my honor to be here. On behalf of the men and women of Coast Guard Sector Charleston and the Seahawk Interagency Operations Center, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us to participate, and thank you for the partnership we've developed and continue to develop as we move forward. As a former police officer and state trooper, I'm intimately aware of the role that the dispatcher plays in the first responder community. On many occasions, that dispatcher was the only calming voice I heard in a completely chaotic situation. And so again, thank you. And thank you to the dispatchers for the work that you do. It's been my honor over the past couple of years to tell our story to Coast Guard units throughout the country, from Hawaii to Puerto Rico, all over the country. And as I explained the partnership that Coast Guard Sector Charleston has with the Consolidated Dispatch Center, I typically get like the confused puppy dog look, and they just don't understand, because they're literally amazed by the depth of our partnership that we have here. So a quick story. A year or so ago, I was at a conference, and I was explaining to a couple of my counterparts the relationship we have. So I started with, yeah, we all operate on one radio channel. Whether they're police, they're fire, they're rescue, they're Coast Guard, there's one channel for maritime-related incidents, and I got that puppy dog look. And then I said, oh yeah, and we've implemented protocols that if one organization receives a call for a maritime incident, they call the other organization. And my counterpart stopped me and said, wait a minute, you're telling me if a local Marine unit gets a 911 call for a boater in distress, they call the Coast Guard? And so I returned that puppy dog look and said, well, yeah, don't yours do that? And they said, no. They said, where I work, what happens is if there's a 911 call that's received, the local Marine units respond, and the Coast Guard finds out when it hits the news, and vice versa. So there's actually no communication between the federal government and local and state entities, which is just amazing. So because of that conversation, he immediately went back to his home and developed relationships with his dispatch center. So what you're doing here and what the partnerships you developed here are not only affecting change in the Low Country and in Charleston and in South Carolina, but they're literally affecting change throughout the country because of the efforts here. So whether it's the partnerships we developed, having the dispatchers come to the Coast Guard Command Center, whether it's having our petty officers who answer radio calls come here and do a shift, whether it's having dispatchers out on boats during their workday to teach them what we're doing out there, that change has done an incredible thing to protect and enhance the security of the Port of Charleston. So on behalf of the men and women of Coast Guard Sector Charleston, the Seahawk Interagency Operations Center, and the citizens who rely on the safety and security of this port, thank you. Thank you for your unwavering support to the Coast Guard mission and your dedication to protecting our homeland. God bless everyone.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here today with all of our friends and colleagues, not only from the response agencies, but from the media, and especially the dispatchers and the call takers. Thank you very much for all that you do. My role today is to talk about the strategic planning initiative that we have been undertaking for the past 18 months. As you've heard, there's been a lot of development and a lot of emerging systems that have taken place throughout the consolidation. And what we really needed to do is as we develop and grow and continue to be in a very critical part of the Charleston County emergency response system, is to have a plan that guides us for the next 5 years and helps us understand what those successes will look like, what are the key things that we want to achieve. So over the past 18 months, we have embarked on that process. The board, agency members, dispatchers, first responders throughout the system from fire, EMS, and police all came together, identified those priorities, identified strategic goals, objectives, strategies, and measurements that we will follow for the next 5 years that will help us achieve greater success as we move forward. Because as you've heard from Chief Buchanan and others, as we started this, it was an opportunity for us all to come together and learn about how we operated individually into one collective. And now as we move forward, the strategic plan will help us in terms of how we go about ensuring that the effectiveness and the efficiencies that we have achieved thus far continue and will help guide us into the future. Because many of the things that you've heard already about the grants and the cooperation is part of the strategic plan, and what we have been able to achieve because of that cooperation is immense. A couple of examples. Alistar, which is a technology system which helps us increase our situational awareness. It can be used for small events, it can be used for big events, it can be scaled. And as this plan comes together and we start looking at how we're going to utilize these technology systems, it is very important that we have a clear understanding so that as we do move forward, not only do we as leaders understand what we want to do, but that can be cascaded down throughout the organization. And what's really going to be beneficial about this strategic plan is that as it is cascaded down, the dispatchers, the call takers, the firefighters, the police officers, the EMS technicians, they're going to be able to see directly in this plan information that they provided to us as important. So it's not like the board sat around the table and decided what's important for those people who are doing the daily activities. They're going to be able to see that their input was taken, that it was considered, and now it's in this plan that will guide us and guide them for the next 5 years. And I would be remiss if I did not say that while we have this plan put together and we have a great opportunity here through consolidation to serve the men and women not only of the first responder community but also the citizens of Charleston County, this would not have been possible without a lot of leadership and a lot of planning led by Jim Lake, Allison Burwell and their staffs, the county administrator and the county council, as well as all the political leaders from the municipalities that are involved in this. So I am very, very honored to be a part of this, and I think that as we move forward, we're going from an emerging organization to one now that is going to become a very critical component of the growth and development of this emergency response system for Charleston County, which will be beneficial for first responders as well as the citizens of the county. Thank you.